Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone to our last class today. We are actually going to finish up Power BI today and also talk about some additional tools or some additional ways that you can analyze data, okay, very easily. So let's do a quick recap, what we have done in the previous class, as I always do. In class 4, we did a couple of exercise. For example, we have actually in the last class, in the lab 1, we loaded a sample data for first company. We actually did some manipulation of the data, cleanup of the data. We removed some rows, some columns, updated some headers, replaced some data, removed some duplicates, and we filtered some rows, right? So when data will come to you, it will not be in the same form that you can consume right away, right? There can be a lot of, headers and missing information. You might have some, text in there that is comments about the file, right? You need to remove them. So those cleanup, Power BI makes it really easy. Okay, and then you can extract that. And we saw that, we actually have the steps on the right-hand side. We can, at some point, we can see, what we have done, and then we can also remove some of those steps too, right? So it makes things very easy. So we have done some cleanup. Next, we actually loaded one sample data set for 2018 cells. And then we loaded another sample data set for 2019 cells. So what we have done is we appended queries. Appended queries means, you can have 10 files or 15 files or 20 files, as many as you want. And each of them might have maybe, 1,000 rows or something. And you need to, for some reason, for your overall maybe reporting, you need to combine them. So for that reason, you can actually take multiple files and then you can combine. So we have seen, even with that, there are some challenges like, if you want to combine two files, what is a prerequisite? A prerequisite is that, they all have to have the same columns, right? We had in one file, if you recall from the last class, your order ID said order underscore ID. And in another year sales, report, we had order space ID. Is order underscore ID and order space ID same? Anyone? They are same when we're trying to make sense, we understand what is in there. But when you are talking to a database, it's not same. It has to match every character, right? So in that case, we had to first inspect those files and inspect the data schema and see, what columns do we have? Do they have same names? If we don't do that, if we don't examine, if we don't actually clean up, then we're going to have a lot of problems. We might have one, let's say sales 2018 has order underscore ID and sales 2019 has order space ID. So what's going to happen is when you merge them or when you append them, they will create the, Power BI will create a new column called, sales space ID, because it doesn't understand that sales underscore ID is the same column. So it will create the same column. 2018 is not going to have any values there. And then 2019 will have all the values there. So you're going to have a lot of discrepancies. Your data is going to be almost garbage. That's the reason why cleaning up the data is very important. And Power BI does a really good job, both visually and using the steps. All right. So that's what we have done in the last class. Does anyone have any question about what we are doing? All right, so today, what is our plan? So today I'm going to go through another very important concept like appending the query, something called merging queries or joining queries. If anyone here have experience with database, you probably have done left join, right join, full join, outer join, all those joins. It is exactly the same, right? Anybody here has experience with joining queries in database? Anyone? All right. All right, Firuzappa, you have experience, right?
I do.
And for that, you actually have to write like, your voice is actually coming really low. Maybe you need to adjust your microphone, but you probably have to write some queries in Java or in SQL, right? Some code. So in Power BI, if we understand the concept, we will be able to do it very easily. Okay, so I will show you how we do it in Power BI, and it will be at least, if not, 10 times faster and easier to do it. Look at all these query joinings. So let's first talk about these joins. Okay, and then in the next lab, we are going to do, so we are going to do join, and then we are going to do some, cost summary. We're going to do some pivoting and unpivoting. Okay. Anyone heard about pivot tables? Anyone heard the name pivot tables, right? It can be complex in Excel, how to do it. But just remember, pivot means summary. So when somebody says, give me a pivot table, all they're asking for is summary information. And then if somebody says, give me unpivot, unpivoted data, that means now you make detailed information from the summary. So pivoting and unpivoting is going to be our next topic. And after we finish these two, these three labs, we are going to, or maybe I'll give you the unpivot, to do it by yourself. After we do that, I'm going to show you some additional tools and techniques on how to do data analysis without Power BI, with the power of generative AI. Okay, so that's not something that I'm going to cover heavily, but I will give you some examples, some prompts, using generative AI to analyze data. It's like an art. You have to know how to create nice prompts, detailed prompts, and you have to take that exact, what you are looking for, and then work with your generative AI until it gets it right. So we're going to see some demo of that today. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Any questions, anyone? And then I will hear if anyone has any questions afterwards. So let's talk about these joins. Okay. So there are 6 types of joins that are available in Power BI. Okay, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, inner join, left anti-join, and right anti-join. Okay, so joins are, so if you say, let's say a simple example, in one table, you have your sales information. You have a customer ID, your customer number 4 bought, 5 cases of papers, and you need to ship it to your customer 4. That's all the information you have in your sales table. And then you have a customer table that has who is customer number 4. Customer number 4, let's say that's Fayaz, right? And then where does customer number 4 lives, right? And then what is the address? Maybe what is customer number 4's payment information? All of that is saved in that customer table. So when you say I made a sale to customer number 4, then all other information about that customer will come from the other table. Okay, so there are different reasons why companies will do it, or database will be organized such a way. You don't want to put all of your information in one database. You're going to create a lot of columns with a lot of information. A lot of information is going to get repeated, right? If you have multiple times customer number 4, then you're going to have all the information about customer number 4 repeated in all of those columns. It will take more space. It is also not safe. Why it's not safe? Because if somebody hacks into your database, and let's say they get access to your sales table for some reason, now if you have the two separate data tables, they know, oh, there is a customer number 4 that bought these 5 cases of paper, but they don't know, or they didn't get a hold of your customer information table. So they don't know that customer number 4 is Fayez or whoever it is. They don't know Fayez's address or his credit card information or anything, right? So more likely you're going to be safer if you actually structure your data set such a way. It's going to take less space, more secure. When you have less space, it's going to be faster, right? And it's going to be well architected design. So for that reason, you have this separation. And because you have this separation, now you have to find out, okay, when you want to combine something, how you're going to combine them. So join or merge talks about how to combine, 2 or more tables. All right. So that's the reason why we are talking about join, if anyone here is not familiar. So I'm not going to go into very much details of these joins, but as you know, as mentioned here, left outer join is going to be joining, so think about like 2 tables, one on the left, one on the right. Left table has your sales, right table has your customer information, right? So left and right. So when you have left and right, this is designed with a paradigm that there is a table on the left, there is a table on the right. So all rows from the left or the first table and matching rows from the right table or the second table, right? So right is going to be the second table, yeah. Okay, so that means, let's say, you have customer 1 through 100. And in your sales table, only you have 2 cells, customer number 4 and customer number 10, right? If you do a left outer join, only customer number 4 and customer number 10 information will come after the join. All the other customers that you have, nothing is going to come through. So that's what the left outer join means. And if you look at the visual, representation, left outer join is going to have everything on the left table, and then only things matching on the right table. And then right outer join is exactly the same. Opposite is going to have everything on the right table and just whatever is matching on the left table. All right. And then inner join is only going to have whatever is common between the 2 tables. Means, if you do, you might have some customer numbers like 102 that is missing from your customer information. In that case, you're not going to have any match, right? You're going to only have your customer 4 and customer 10. And full outer join is going to join everything. Left anti-join is only going to give you, everything that is in the left table. Okay, and that doesn't match with the right table. And then the right anti-join is going to do the same thing. So once we do this, it will make sense. We're going to do the most common one today, which is the left outer join or right outer join. And then you can play with the others. Okay, so I would suggest if you actually do play with them, I'm going to give you 2 data sets to play with it. Create like small subsets. Okay, my data set is going to be large. Maybe take, 5 on the left table, 5 rows on the right table. So when you have a smaller subsets, you can play with them, and that will make a lot more sense to you. Okay, so let's look at this and how we're going to do it. Anyone have any question about joining? So for this exercise, the first data set that I have is called the cost summary. So basically, oh, not this one. Okay, let's go to the, okay, so we're gonna do sales 2019 and the sales detail. Okay, let's go to sales 2019. So sales 2019 was in our previous class. Actually, the same one. I'm gonna just take it because it has, some sales information, but not all the details. So let's open it up. So sales 2019, if we open up this file, okay, so it has order ID. So look at this order ID. Can anyone guess why does this order ID starts with 19? Anyone? What is the purpose for them? So if you ever go to Walmart or, Costco or any store, right? Look at your receipt. You're going to find some type of order ID or some type of ID. If there is any problem, next time you go for a refund or return or something, they scan your barcode that has your order ID. You go to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. All the companies now use pretty much same stuff. Unless you go to Desi grocery store, that's a different story. But you go to a chain store that use some kind of modern point of sale system, they will have some type of order ID. Can anyone guess like what is the reason behind having 19 at the beginning of my order ID? Why is that? You don't have to be right or wrong, just guess. Anyone? Cheyenne, any thoughts?
Is it because it's for 2019?
Exactly, because it's for 2019, right? And why there are so many zeros after 2019? Can you guess? How many zeros I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 zeros. Why is that?
To accommodate a large number, like lots of order.
Exactly. You can have like almost, 8 numbers, right? 100 million orders for that, right? If you run out of that, then you can add maybe, you can design in your database, you're going to start adding like letters. But with this mechanism, you can have billions of transactions every year, right? We are a smaller company. We're not like Amazon or eBay, that we're going to have billions of transactions, but we can actually accommodate, multi-million, transactions. Exactly. That's the reason why, right? So it has a naming convention. So it has an order ID. Okay. Now let's go and look at our cost summary. As I mentioned, not cost summary, the other one, sorry, our sales details. So as I mentioned, companies often, they don't want to store all the information in a single database, right? So now what you have here is you have your sales from 18, sales from 90, sales from 2020, 21, all these 22. So you have a master data set 23 of all of your transactions. And all you need to know for this transaction is, okay, what was sold, like Windex, glass cleaner, and who sold it? Home Depot. Maybe this is a drop shipping company that you are trying to match your order. So you have all this information, okay? So now we are going to practice our left join because, if we see the table that we're going to select first, that's going to be our left table. So sales 2019 is going to be our left table. We're going to have all this information. And then what we're going to add to that is, because this is going to be a merge, we are going to add our, okay, for this order ID, what was the product sold? Which store sold it? What was the product name and the store name? Okay, so let's say here, store ID is a unique number. So store ID is like S0008 is Walmart. Let's find another Walmart. Walmart S0008, right? So this store ID is very unique, right? Maybe we can have another table that will have, okay, for this Walmart, what is the address? For this Sam's Club, what is the address, right? So we can do that too. So with this, we can actually chain not just two tables. We can chain 3, 4, 5, 6 tables. And when you do that, you need to store less amount of information because, you can reuse, and that's going to make your database faster. You're going to need less storage and also secure. Because right now, if somebody hacks this data set or this data, well, they will know, okay, there was an order ID and date and some information, but they have no idea that where was this order made. Okay, they will not be able to go to Walmart and pick up your order impersonating you or something else. Okay, maybe they will not find your address and then try to steal your package or something like that. So a lot of security built in when you actually divide your tables. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually see an example of a left join. So let's close these files and let's do a left join. We could have done right join, left join, whichever one we want to. Okay. So in order to do this, I'm going to first open up my Power BI. Power BI desktop, and I will save this right here. Okay. So my Power BI just opened up. All right. I'll just click on blank report. And then, I'm going to import data from Excel, right? These are Excel file or CSV files. These are actually, let's see. I think these are Excel file, yeah. So we, depending on what kind of file we have. So let's load our first data set. So we're going to load it from Excel. Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I need to change something in my screen. Faiz, which function and which button do you press to select which screen you want to show? Is it F12? No.
What screen for Zoom?
Okay, no worries. Do you know which one? Function?
Are you trying to share on Zoom?
Yeah, no, I have both screens on. I just want to turn off the computer one.
It's Windows P.
Windows P, okay, thank you. Windows P, yeah. Okay, second screen only. All right, good, thank you. So now I'm gonna reshare again, because once I change the setting, it just stops sharing. All right, so share. Share, okay. You can see my screen now, right? All right. So I'm gonna go to my class 5. All right, and then try to, oh, class 5 doesn't have any Excel. Okay, maybe I'm in the wrong folder. Okay. All right, so these are actually CSV files. Looks like, even though it says Microsoft Excel. Yeah, Excel CSV. Okay, got it. So I need to actually cancel this and say insert. Okay. No. Go in here from another source. And then I need to select text CSV. Say connect. Okay, now I will be able to see. So the first one I want to select is my sales 2019. So I have it in here, sales 2019. And I load the data. All right. And I just say load. Okay, anytime we see this, we just say apply changes. It's actually loading now. Okay. So we just go in here or go to transform data. So we'll be able to actually see the whole table. So we see our order ID and all this information. And, if we want to, we can say, we can change the name, whichever way we want. And we see that some of these already applied, like, for example, 1, 2, 3, that means, 1, 2, 3 means whole numbers already, this data is already formatted. So, because last time we actually formatted this data, right? So a lot of these are actually, already here. So we don't have to do much, okay? And then I'm going to insert another data set, new source, which is our other data, text CSV, which is our sales detail. So if I load that, you're going to see there is going to be a next tab added. And when I say OK, next tab added here, that has the sales details. So now, what we can do, just say apply and close. The reason why I'm saying apply and close, if we do that, I want to show you, if you go to model view, now you have actually both of the tables that you loaded, right? They are here. So this is very important, because now that every time you want to merge, you want to append something, we need to check and make sure that, like, for example, order ID and order ID, they are matching. Otherwise, this, is going to create another column. It doesn't understand that these two are same. So you see that we already have a problem. We need to resolve this. Order date 2. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, let's look at some other stuff, like, are there columns that are matching here? No, we don't have promo code, revenue, sales, and stock. So only thing that we see that is matching between the two columns, what are matching, or two tables, order ID, right? Yeah, we don't have anything else matching. So these two, they have to be same. If they're same, indicating the same information, actually they have to be same. So what we're gonna do now is, maybe in the sales 2019, I will go and change this to order ID. So let's go back, click on the table view, okay? And we can change the name here, or best would be to go to our, click on your report view and click on transform data. So we actually go straight to the data transformation tool and we make our changes here. So as I said before, we have the steps, right, at the side. So these are the steps. So we're going to change this to order underscore ID. Okay. And as soon as we do and say enter, we actually had a step added, rename column, right? For example, maybe what I did is I did this. Instead of doing, I did this and I'm like, that was a mistake. So what I do is I don't have to go back and I can just cross it out. Now you see it's back. So every step that you do, Power BI actually, it tracks it, almost like your track changes in Microsoft Word, and it will actually then undo it too. So this is the only thing after examining these two tables, we found that there is some discrepancy. Same thing has two different names. Okay, now we can say, we can say close and apply or just apply, right? Okay, so this change is now committed. All right. Now what we're going to do, let's go back to our slide. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually now do the merge. So in order to do the merge, we actually have to select the primary key. So all these that I'm mentioning, the left outer join that will match, that means primary key has to be matched. Everything that matches this primary key, everything will be here. Only whatever matches the primary key from the right-hand table, that will be there. So, that's what the left outer join will do. All right, so with that, I am going to actually, let's see. With this, yeah. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this for a second and then go to File and click Save As. So this is a precaution because if for some reason I close these or anything happens, I'm going to lose everything. So I'm just going to make it today's lab 1 and say save. All right. Okay, so now that I saved, I am safe now. That if my Power BI crashes or something happens, it's there. Okay, let's go back to our transform data, our data transformation tool. And now we're going to do the merge. All right. So the merge, all these functionalities are on the top. You just got to find, which one. So when we did append queries, we use this one. Now we're going to do merge queries. We're going to use this one. So there are two ways that you can merge. One is you just merge in here. And then, it will merge everything into sales 2019. Or you can merge as new. That means it will create a third table here that will have all the merge information. I like to create as merged, that way my original data, if anything happens, doesn't get corrupt. So I'll just say merge as new. So then you're going to see a dialog box opening. So you're going to have, so your first table, sales 2019 is selected. Okay. And then we want to do a left outer join. And even if you don't know after this class and you forgot, okay, what does left outer join do? What does right outer join do? Power BI makes it very simple and easy. It says, okay, all from your first and only matching from the second. So, hey, it's already there, right? So that's actually pretty good. Okay. And then I have to select which one is my second table is the sales details. And then it's going to ask you to, it's not going to ask you, you just have to select, this is the primary key. what is the connection between the two tables? If you don't select anything, this OK is not going to be activated. Okay, so that's the reason why, just remember that, I could have said order ID and product ID. No, that's not the right thing to match. Order ID is going to match with order ID, right? So I even could have left it order space ID and do that too. But it's always good to name your primary keys exactly the same. Okay, so that is the reason why I did the matching or did the update. And then there is something called use fuzzy matching. Fuzzy matching means it will do some similar match. For this purpose, we don't want fuzzy match. We just want exact match. Okay, we just don't want something to kind of look same and then match based on that. So this is going to use some AI. We don't want that for this exercise. We are just going to do the exact match. Okay. And all we say here is okay. That's it. Now it created a merge table. So what I'm going to name this is merge of merge of 2019 sales and details. Okay, so so I know next time that this is actually the merged table. Okay, now if I go to right-hand side, I'm going to see that there are new columns added. Okay, so here, it added like a sales details and something called a table. So what it did is it added these columns: order ID, product ID, store ID, what is the product, what is the store. But it just shows you like this. You can, this is basically, these are collapsed, right? So you can uncollapse them by clicking here. And so which ones to show? Okay. And I can say, okay, all of them. You can actually select whichever one. You might not want to show store ID. It doesn't matter. Or might not want to show product ID. It doesn't matter because product name and store names are already there, right? I just don't need more IDs. Therefore, I don't want to select them. Or maybe order ID. Okay, it added the order ID too. So I just want to add my product name and store name and say, okay. And when you do that, now, 2 columns popped up and those 2 columns have this additional information. Okay, so now within one table, you can see this 19000035 actually was a Dollar General purchase of Pine Sol cleaner. All right, so that's what we get when we do merge. All right, so if you are a database administrator or database developer, this is an essential. This is actually one of the hard part of interview questions about merge and other things. And Power BI just makes it so much easier, so much easier. Does anyone have any question about this one? Is it make sense what we are doing here? Now, one thing I want to show you is that, just it only had the columns that matched, so you can recall that this table that had the sales details, it had from 2018, 2019, 2020, all of this data. None of that came. Only came whatever information we had from 2019. If we did a right inner join, we would get everything. Because this is the left inner join, we only got whatever is in the left table, that many rows. If we did a right one, we would get how many ones in the right table, rows, right? If we did, full outer join, we're going to get everything that is common, everything that is including the two tables. So if one table has 100 row, another table has 100 row, and there is nothing common between the two tables, we're going to get 200 rows. If one table has 100 row and 50 of those rows are matched with the second table, we're going to get 150. The match ones are going to be common, and then the other 50 is going to be extra, right? So that way. If we had nothing common, right? In full outer join, we're going to get 200 rows. And inner join, we're going to get 0 rows. So that's the two extreme. All right. So very interesting. Play with it, and you're going to like it and appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to actually give you a homework to do this lab 2 and lab 3 for today. This is going to be basically pivoting and unpivoting data from the cost summary. What pivot is going to do, first we're going to do unpivot, because in the cost summary table, okay, we have everything in summary. If we go to the cost summary, we have everything as summary, like, February, what kind of cost we had in 2018 and 2019. So if you do actually, if you take this data and first, if you unpivot, you're going to see, this structure is going to flatten. So it's going to just have, 2018, 2019 month, and then it will just have the numbers. You will see when you do the unpivot. It's going to have more details. And then you pivot, you're going to have more speed. So try it out. And if you need help, let me know. And I can actually provide you some help. So unpivot and pivot, you can try it on your own. Any questions, anyone? I will provide you the data set. Okay. Now let me close this, save it and close it. Apply. Yeah. Make sure before you close your Power BI file, you apply all the changes and then close it. It actually finished, and then it will close it. Yes. All right. So now I want to talk about a different topic, which is how can we use generative AI to analyze data? Okay. Anyone here haven't heard about ChatGPT? Anyone? Everybody did, right? ChatGPT can be a tool to analyze data as well, right? It will probably give you some free analysis, then ask you for, additional tier, but ChatGPT actually can do data analysis. So, we're going to talk about that in this portion. Let me first give you this article. This is from Medium, which is a blogging platform. It says 10 ChatGPT prompt templates for analysis. The reason why I like this one, because in it has a lot of details. As I said, working with generative AI is more of an art. It's a science and also it's art, because you got to be able to talk to it, communicate with it until you get what you want. Okay, so AI needs to understand, AI needs to reason what you are trying to get out of it. So look at some data analysis prompts. These are very detailed. Okay, for example, this is a prompt. You are an expert data analyst. I am. You are an expert data analyst means, who is the you here? The ChatGPT, right? Or whichever, Gemini, whatever tool is. I am, okay, mention the problem. I am facing a problem with this data set. Analyze the data set I provide containing, blah, blah, blah. Identify key trends and patterns and suggest actionable insights to improve, some sales performance, blah, blah, blah. Provide visualizations like graphs or charts where applicable. I have attached, the document for reference. I want you to, do this. I want you to give me like a chart of where my sales are lagging or something like that. You can do market research. You can do SWOT analysis with your data. You can do sentiment analysis of social media data. You can do financial performance analysis. You can do customer segmentation, all these different types of analysis. There can be a lot more. It just gives you some, prompts, okay? So we can actually do one of these prompts and we can analyze our data and see what exactly happens. And I haven't tried that. So does anyone have any preference which data set we want to use? Anyone? I'm like the magician, in the stage that ask, audience like which card to pick. So audience thinks that there is no trick here. So I'm doing the same thing here. So anybody choose like, what do you want to pick? And we're going to work with that.
I think it's better to use the very first one.
Which
The
one?
Amazon sales, I think, is from the class 1.
Class 1, okay. Okay, Sharfraz is making sure that, I don't play any tricks. All right. So wildcard sales data, right? Good. So let's look at this data first, right? So this data says, okay, we had a few salespeople and we had a few country, we had a few product and date and then amount and then the number of boxes. Yeah, this is actually a really good data set. And then we, what did we do with this data set? Anybody remember? What was our main purpose? We created the world map. We sliced and diced, where the sales goes. Geographical information that is here, like the country, right? Power BI can understand that you are talking about a country or a city even, and it will actually give you that visualization. So we actually saw, this is one of the very catchy and very actually, one of the very cool feature of the geospatial, overlay of Power BI. And when we did this, it was actually very meaningful for us, right? We were able to publish it, see it, a lot of things we have done with that. So, okay, we can actually use this data set. Okay, now let's go to a ChatGPT prompt. Okay, before I do that, I want to show you some more stuff, which is, this is another one. This is actually from Brigham Young University, which is a actual university in Utah. They even have now class on how to analyze data with GenAI, right? So this is a actual university page telling you how to work with ChatGPT on your data. So this is not like, anymore like, oh, I do GenAI, I don't want anybody to know, nobody to shame me. This is mainstream. This is the next, this is the tomorrow that we are looking at, right? So it tells you, also gives you like it walks you through an exercise, okay? And you can actually see there are some already pre-made GPTs in ChatGPT that I think this is actually BYU, their own, ChatGPT instance. They have some data analysis tool, and they also have some prompts. Like, I want to make a visualization on genre and global sales. Help me with that. And here you go, charts. Okay, so yeah, GenAI can do this all for you. You can do this in Power BI too, but Power BI you saw like, and I'm preaching Power BI. I don't want to badmouth it, but at the same time, you saw like we have to do so much cleaning. We need to make sure that the columns actually match and all these. Guess what? GenAI is going to do a lot of that for you, but at least you need to understand the basics of Power BI. Otherwise, when you see that, oh, why my order IDs are all messed up? Because maybe you had two files and they had different names, and for some reason ChatGPT is hallucinating. So you don't want to give it all control. You still need to know, how you do it. Then let the ChatGPT do it. All right. I want to tell you a joke. Everybody ready? So there is a very famous Chinese restaurant in this area, and the owner is a Desi person. So I was talking to him a couple of years ago, and I was saying, hey, you're probably the first, and he runs a halal Chinese restaurant chain. You're probably the first Desi person I know who is running a successful, Chinese restaurant. And he's like, yeah, the secret behind my success. I'm like, no. Like, I know how to cook everything that is served in this restaurant. And the chef who is Chinese also knows that. That's the reason why a chef can never, say, oh, I'm going to quit. Give me more money or I'm going to quit. Same way, you need to know how to do it and then let the ChatGPT know, do it. If it messes up, it knows that, you are not just blindly playing with the numbers, right? So, all right. So all this kind of visualization can be done by GenAI, okay? All right. And then let me show you another example. And these two are like, analytics hacker. These are more like, blogs. The first two I gave you, those are high quality. If you need more prompts, there are more prompts. Help me design a hypothesis test. What type of chart or graph is most suitable for displaying this data? You can upload the data and then you can ask it. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go back to my first, the Medium article, which has some very detailed prompts, and we're going to test with one of them. All right. Okay. So Sarfaraz bhai, do you have any preference which prompt you want to select, or anything is fine?
Yeah, I think anything is fine.
Okay, we can actually take this one then, the first one, right? And say, okay, so I'm going to actually go in here. I'm going to put my prompt here, prompt used in class. Okay, so I'm going to write the prompt here. You are an expert data analyst. Okay, I am, okay, here trying data set and identify some trends. Analyze the data set I provided containing, I'm lazy. I don't want to put all these things. It will know what you are containing my cell information. All right. So I'm being lazy. I'm not putting all those column names and everything. I'm just saying, ChatGPT will understand what you're talking about. Identify key trends and patterns and suggest actionable insights to improve my sales. I'm going to say improve my sale in Australia and New Zealand, or something like that. Improve my even if I say NZ, it will actually understand what I'm saying. Okay, we'll try. Provide visualization like graphs or charts where applicable. I have attached the data set. Again, I'm going to be lazy. I don't want to say data set for your reference. I want you to give me insights and visualization. as much as, or, I'm smooshing this a little bit, right? Like giving it, okay? All right. So that's what we're gonna do, all right? And again, here, it doesn't matter what data set I'm providing. I only thing I actually did is, I know that that data set has some country names, and I want to improve my revenue in, Australia and New Zealand, or just say maximize. I don't want to say maximize actually, but then, it might say, well, do all of your sale in Australia and New Zealand. I want to see what it does. Okay. So this is the prompt that we created. Okay. Now we're going to go back and then log into ChatGPT. So I already have an account. Okay. And we are actually going to use this one. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually paste my prompt here. And then you see that there is a, add photos or files. So you can actually upload files. I'm using the free version. Therefore, I didn't run any analytics today. Just, it probably will give me like at least one report. After you do multiple times, the analytical engine of ChatGPT is going to shut down for the day and say, try again tomorrow after that time. Okay, so I'm adding that. So I'm actually uploading my spreadsheet, uploading my prompt, and all I have to do now is click on enter. It is saying analyzing. And you can see that it created a chat thread called Sale Analysis Insights, based on my prompt. Ooh, okay, I see. ChatGPT has, you reached your data analysis limit. Okay. That is interesting. Okay. All right. It seems like, it will not let me do it. Okay, let's see if I can do it Gemini. Let me just copy this. I already have it. Google Gemini. This is another, ChatGPT-like tool. And let's see. I'm going to log in. Okay. And let's say a new chat. Okay. I'm going to post the same prompt. Oh, no, that was the different one. That was actually my file path. Okay, here, I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And then say, okay, add file, upload file. And I'm going to upload the file from Wildcard sales data. Okay. And then hit enter. And if you click on show thinking, it will actually tell you, what it's doing. I'm now focusing on Australia and New Zealand. You remember I put NZ, right? It actually understood that this is New Zealand. Some lazy person typing New Zealand. All right. So we actually got some insights. Okay, let's go back and actually minimize that. We're going to wait. So monthly sales trend by country, Australia and New Zealand. Okay, it is giving us some trend. It is showing us, some months, what is the trend. Okay. If you recall from the data set, we didn't have sales on Australia and New Zealand every month. We had some months. Okay. Now let's go back. Top 5 product sales in New Zealand. What were the top 5 product? Vitamix blender, AirPods. Okay, all these. Top 5 products in Australia. Okay, good. Australia had total sales of 1.16 million shipped this many boxes. New Zealand had total sales of this many. Here is an analysis of key trends, patterns, and actionable insights for improving revenue in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, Australia has higher total sales and boxes shipped compared to New Zealand. Monthly sales trends, this one, New Zealand, this one, top selling products, okay? Both countries have, okay? Focus on Vitamix blender, cross promotion, okay? All right. All these, whether they're right or wrong, we can actually say they're relevant, right? It's not talking about something random. I'm going to give it another prompt because I did not see anything here about salespeople. Do you have any advice on which sales, what did I name them? Or sales focus on to maximize my revenue, or not maximize, maybe optimize my revenue in, I'm just going to say AU and NJ, right? Australia and New Zealand. Let's see what it says. All right. Australia, you should focus on the following sales personnel who have demonstrated high sales performance. Zoe Miller, Caleb Scott, all right? Zoe Miller, Grace Foster, Caleb Scott, Aria Patterson are your top 5 sales personnel. Recognize their contributions publicly and consider offering performance-based bonuses, incentives, or promotions. This can motivate them to continue, blah, 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 all these. Okay. I can ask another counter question. Are they really or overall? Yes, the advice provided on sales personnel is specific for the Australia and New Zealand market. All right. What do you think? Is it interesting, good, bad? What about these charts? Okay, I want to ask you the last question. Can you the sales in let's see, I want to see a world map and the sales in each country projected on the map. Let's see what it does. I don't have much expectation, but it might surprise you. I understand your visualization, however, I'm unable to generate interactive or a static world map. So, very honest answer, Gemini cannot do that. I don't know if ChatGPT can, but they just, don't have. Okay, I say, okay, thank you. Okay, please show. Now it will give you a table with, it's a pivot table, summary table that has sales for each country, right? Which is not bad. I mean, it's telling you, it can show you Australia and then 1.613 million projected on Australia, but it can give you the table. All right. So if we used one example, prompt, right? If you use these prompts, you'd be able to do a lot. Even you can help, get help from generative AI and say, what other prompt, what other, let's say, insight can that I did not ask. So you can actually ask, ChatGPT for advice too. It's telling you, these are the things that it can do for you that you didn't ask. What are the least expensive products? Okay, maybe you might, want to think about what are you going to do with least expensive one? Maybe raise their price or do something about them. All right, so it has a lot of insights. All right, last thing, very quickly, there is a tool. Okay, as I mentioned, many of these tools actually don't have the same type of analytical capability, but there is a tool called, let me see, what is the name of the tool? Zebra BI. Okay, it's called Zebra Business Intelligence. So this is a tool, it's an AI-based, generative AI-based tool, but it makes things much easier for you. What it does is it helps you connect with Power BI and other tools, and you can actually create visualizations much faster. All right, so I actually just opened an account in Zebra BI and just log in. You can sign up by yourself. And then, where is my login? I used no. Okay, hold on 1 second. And I only connected to the free version. So, okay. Give me 1 second. No, it's not. Why doesn't it work? Because I connected with my Google account. There is no option for connecting with Google here. I did not use a username and password. Try Zebra BI for free, okay? Get it started for free. Let's see. No. Okay. Okay. Anyway, maybe you can try that on your own. This tool, you'll be able to actually upload the data and ask about same type of questions, and you'll be able to get some insights and dashboards. So in the difference between the generative AI, which is ChatGPT or Gemini, versus the Zebra BI is that in Gemini or ChatGPT, it will give you like individual, charts, right? And then you make your own visualization. In here, if you just watch
It's a
the,
data-driven world. Clarity and speed
it
are
will
no
create
longer
those for you.
their necessities. But getting there is often slow and complex, requiring IT experts is no longer a time-consuming process. Drag and drop your data and let Zebra AI do the rest, automatically generating powerful interactive dashboards in seconds.
All right, so
No need for
basically what
complex
we have
queries
done
or technical knowledge.
in Power BI, much of that you can do interactively in here. But again, this doesn't substitute your knowledge on how things work, right? Step by step, and cleaning up the data, because you might just upload a data and then you don't know what to do with that. And whatever Zebra BI gives you, or any Gen AI tools gives you, you are just blindly dependent on that. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we understand the data, we can analyze the data, we can clean up the data, and then we can use these tools to save our time. All right. So that's all I had. Now I'm gonna stop sharing and stop talking, and I actually want to hear from you and see if anyone have any questions, any last comments for our last class. Anyone? So was it helpful or what is your thought? Shafraz bhai?
It's indeed very helpful, Fasal Bhai, and thank you for taking the time to share and give us some in-depth knowledge. And especially the recording is very helpful to moving forward. Jazakallah for all the the work that you have done.
Jazakallah khairan. Okay, thank you. And all these recordings are going to be available to you, and you can actually take a look at them, and review them as needed, right? And then always you can ask me questions and I can answer you. All right. Anybody else? Any other comments?
থ্যাংক ইউ ফয়সাল ভাই।
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you for attending.
হ্যাঁ, আমি মেইনলি আসলে ওই আপনার ইউটিউব ভিডিও দেখে কিছুটা করছি।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
ইট ইজ রিয়েলি হেল্পফুল। বিশেষ করে যেভাবে আপনি ওই ট্রান্সফর্ম ডেটার কাজগুলো দেখাইছেন, মানে ইট ওয়াজ ইজিলি আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডেবল।
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khairan. All right. Anybody else? All right. It's about 10:27. So thank you all of you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can either give you some insights or share some, information with you or, walk you through. So Jazakallah khairan, everyone. Have a good, summer vacation. Hopefully see you soon sometimes. And take care. Assalamu alaikum.